Pro 14 this weekend, and it's the Scottish rivals Edinburgh and Glasgow up against it again. I didn't get to see their game last week. I did see the result. It seemed to be a pretty comfortable one. 30 points to 15, with Edinburgh getting the job done over Glasgow. And it seems like Edinburgh are having a pretty bloody good season, man. 11 wins, 3 losses, first in the conference. I believe that win last week secured them a home semi, so everything's kind of sitting pretty. Glasgow, to be fair, here in New Zealand with the Dave Rennie connection, are probably maybe the more well-known team. I don't know, at least in recent times, but not going so swimmingly with 7 wins, 7 losses. I am in the Glasgow gear because that's the stuff that I've got, but before I get started just with the lineups, I will quickly open up this thing which Craig sent through. It's been sitting on the ground taunting me for quite some time, but I figured I would save until I was ready to watch this game to open this thing up. You can probably guess what it is based on the game that I've waited to open it with, but it is a very well packaged Edinburgh rugby kit. Goodness me, there we go. Thank you very much, Craig. I might find reason to wear this. It'll be tomorrow my time. It's going to be a man. That is nice. Just feel that. It'll be my time. It's a Saturday morning game. Hold on a second. Better get that. It must have been Dave Rennie calling to tell me I got the wrong jersey. One of these days I'll remember to unplug the damn landline. But yeah, very, very nice jersey. And I might just find reason to wear that tomorrow if it goes according to plan for Edinburgh, man. Thank you so much for that, Craig. It's been a bit of a conspicuous one in its absence in recent times. But I really do appreciate that. So thank you very much, sir. Moving on to the game where these two teams are playing. As I mentioned, rivals. It looks like there's been a fair few changes for Glasgow, and a slightly more stable lineup, I guess, for more changes for Edinburgh. A slightly more stable lineup for Glasgow compared to what we saw last week. Like I mentioned, I didn't see the game, but I did see the result. Glasgow's lineup is Kebble, Brown, and Fagerson. I think it's Brown's 100th game, they said, with Richie Gray and Scott Cummings in the second row. Ryan Wilson, Tom Gordon, and Matt Fagerson are the back row. Horn and Hastings, 9 and 10. Hastings has kind of been a guy that I always wanted to see him play more and more and more. And then in the Six Nations, I mean, he's good, but I still kind of miss Finn Russell. What can I say? I know he's playing in France, but you know what I mean. McDowell and Grigg are the midfield. Tagive, who I hadn't actually heard that much of. I think this will be the first time I get to see him play. On the wing, Hugh Jones, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the first game I've seen him play fullback, and Tommy Seymour on the other wing. It looks like there's a couple of debutants on the bench. No Nakarawa, no Sam Johnson. They are unavailable for this one, so that's always a bit gutting when you can't see Nakarawa because he is pretty much a highlight level machine guy on his own. But man, there's certainly some exciting players for that one. As I mentioned, the Edinburgh lineup seems to be well changed up. I think it was 10 changes, they said, from the team that ran it last week. Piers Schoolman, one of my favourite props in the world. I mean, I've loved him since he was at the Bulls. He was an entertaining guy back then. He seems to have not changed much. Hell of a scrummager, quite a character. So looking forward to seeing him. Willemse and Bergen, 2 and 3. Hanning and I think it's Hodgson, 4 and 5. My handwriting's pretty terrible. I can't see Grant Gilchrist in the lineup, so he must be one of the changes. Magnus Bradbury's at 6. I'm more used to seeing him at 8, but you Edinburgh fans, like I mentioned, I don't watch anywhere near enough Pro 14 to comment too much on the lineups, but you Edinburgh guys will have to tell me if he's a regular 6 or more if he's playing 8, because, I guess Philly Mata's playing 8, so just make way for the man. Mata and Nakarawa are two of just the best players around in terms of just getting crazy passes away. So even though Nakarawa's not playing, it's good to see Mata playing for Edinburgh anyway. Hamish Watson, a player I rate really highly. When I picked him in a mock Lions team and people didn't appreciate that, I couldn't understand it, but I'm very glad to see him get a run. Chamberlain is the fly half, and I got to admit, I don't know the name, and I don't think he's a regular, because when I watched the little intro video of the players, where they kind of walk up to the camera and they look up, and then it goes on to the next guy, he didn't even have one of those posed shots. It was just like a shot of him playing rugby, so I don't think he can be a regular. It's Nathan Chamberlain. Shields at 9. I thought it would have been Nick Groom, but there you go. Changes galore. Chris Dean and James Johnston are the midfield. Duhan van der Merwe, I think, is everybody's favourite Scottish South African winger at the moment. He is a big boy and he's pretty quick. Darcy Graham is not quite the same build, but I do quite like the big guy, little guy thing, like the All Blacks used to do it with Julian Savia and Nihi Milaskata. It's just a thing. It seems to work really well. And Blair Kinghorn is at fullback. So like I mentioned, there's a bunch of changes. McAnally's on the bench for this one. Sutherland's on the bench. Nell's on the bench. So yeah, ringing the changes. It'll be a fascinating game for me, just because, as I said, I don't watch enough Pro 14, and to see the two Scottish sides go up against it will be good. Actually, during the lockdown, at least in Europe, in terms of rugby, when the rugby wasn't on a few weeks ago, I watched a 2019-2020 match between these two sides, and it wasn't tries galore, but it was brutal. You know what I mean? So that's, I guess, to be expected when these two sides play each other. So yeah, I'm hoping for a cracking game. In terms of the predictions, interestingly, the bookies over here in New Zealand have got this one's at evens. Maybe that's a few punters who are familiar with Glasgow based on the Dave Rennie days chucking a few bob on that one. But Rugby Forecast Algorithm has got Edinburgh pretty comfortably by 7. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. As I mentioned, Edinburgh, at least this season, are the Scottish team to beat, and they're doing pretty well. I'm going to have to go try this Edinburgh jersey on. Thanks again, Craig. It's very nice and much appreciated. I'll just have to get myself a Edinburgh hat to go with it, but there you go. Cheers, guys. Do let me know any insights you guys have got on these teams. As I said, I don't watch them anywhere near enough as I should, so other players I should be looking out for other than kind of the Scottish internationals and a few of the South African guys that I'm kind of familiar with, a couple of Fijian guys I'm familiar with as well. But yeah, comments most welcome, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.